Hello, everybody. In the past few days, I've had several requests for or questions about how I make sprites and how I put together simple animations. So today, we're going to go through some of those things. We're going to start with a section here on sprite making. Let's go. What we're going to do here is we're going to spend our time in the sprite making section of Scratch. And one of the first things you'll notice is that you start this in bitmap mode, down here where my cursor is now. To be honest, I don't use bitmap mode that much anymore. If I'm bringing in a picture from some other location, I will sometimes use it to clean it up. But just as often nowadays, I use a free photo manipulation or photo management piece of software, and I do it there and then bring the finished product in just because it gives a cleaner result. Now, you'll notice down here it says convert to vector mode. So we're going to click on that, and we're going to spend most of our time today in vector mode. So once we're in vector mode, you notice that there isn't anything on the left-hand side anymore. Everything's over on the right-hand side. And you have your selection tool. This is a reshape tool. We're going to use that a lot today. A line tool, a pencil tool, a line tool, a rectangle tool, an ellipse tool, text, color, shape, and then duplicate, another thing we're going to use a lot today. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make a smile. So I'm going to enlarge to 200%. That's what works best for my screen. Yours might be different. And I'm going to start with an ellipse here. And we're going to draw a nice ellipse. Now, down here you see the line tool. That can make that line thicker or narrower. So once you have the ellipse highlighted, that means you've got a square around it with these little dots. You can make the line as thin or as thick as you like. Now, here's what we're going to do. I don't think someone's lips should be black unless maybe like goth. So I'm going to redraw that. Now, to get rid of this, if you don't want it, you can press the delete key on your keyboard. Boom, it's gone. So let's pick let's pick pink for lips. And then let's draw another ellipse, okay? There we go. Now let's make the lips a little thicker. How's that? Good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on this section. Now whatever's highlighted like this square, is what you're going to zoom in on when you press the plus, the zoom in button down here. So there we're at 400%, up 800% is too big, 400% is fine. Now we're going to turn this into a smile using the reshape tool up here on the right. Reshape, and we're going to pull this down. You see these little circles? These little circles allow you to reshape the ellipse that you started with. And there's, 6, 7, 8 on here. If you want to add one, you just click somewhere on the line. But we'll see if we can work with what we have. So we're going to bring this a little farther down. Same with this. Same with this. Then we're going to take the corner and we're going to bring it up. So let's see, I'm right about here. So I want to bring it right about here. They don't have to be perfect, but you want to get them kind of close. That's okay. Now this is a little bit, we want it nice rounded on the bottom and nice a little bit rounded on the top. And there you go, you've made a smile. Now you can add teeth, or if you just want to fill it, you go back up here to your select tool, select the whole thing, use color as shape, the paint bucket over here, and there you go. Done. One smile. Okay? Now you can use that anywhere you want. Now let's draw an eye. We're going to delete the smile now. So to draw an eye, there's lots of different ways you can do it. You can draw a, ooh, so let's see, an eye. Well, you could draw a pink eye, I guess. So, but for this one, we're not going to do that. So I'm going to pick white. White's kind of hard to see against this background, so maybe light gray. For the purposes of this, we're just going to pick gray. Let's see if that works better. Okay. So there we have a gray eye. Nah. Let's do it this way. Let's pick black. We can do a black eyeliner. Yeah, we'll just use black. We'll just make the line kind of thinner than this. So we go back down, lower left, line tool, we'll make it a little bit thinner. You can decide how much eyeliner to add. We'll go with something about there. We'll use white over here. Now instead of a line, I'm going to use the fill, use the paint bucket. We're going to fill it with white. So, okay. Now in the middle of an eye, you want basically a pupil. So for simple animations and things like that, I just use a black circle. And you see the black fill is highlighted down here. That means you're just going to draw a black circle. You can draw it anywhere you want. I usually draw it outside to give me a chance to change things before I bring it in. Now, there's an eye, just a real simple eye. Now, you can, whoops, selection tool. You got to shift back. So you can be looking down at something. Sometimes that can make the character look sad. You can make them cross-eyed. You can make them look up in the air. Do just about anything you want. But there's a simple eye. Now, when you're putting the eye in characters, it's usually best if you do the following. I'm going to teach you how to group things. So when the selection is highlighted in the upper right, where my cursor is pointing right now, you move over here and you grab the whole thing. Now, all the parts of this eye are selected now. And there's this new box that shows up back down here on the right side. It's called Group. When you click on that, oh, that's interesting. Hang on. Aha! There's something over here. Okay, try that again. Select the whole eye. Click on Group, and then the line turns brown around the outside like this. Your highlight line turns brown. That tells you that whatever it is you're looking at has been grouped. Now, what's nice about this is I can grab any part of this eye and I can move it all over the place. Before, I'm going to ungroup. If I grabbed the eye, I'd be moving it without the pupil. So if I group it, it all stays together. That's very handy when you're putting together sprites. Okay, so we have an eye that we can use for anything we want. Now, there's another way to create an eye. We'll leave him up there. And this time we're going to use an outline, but you can also make an ellipse into an eye. I'm going to move a little bit quickly here. We're going to fill with white, paint bucket, it's filled, selection tool, select that thing, and now I'm going to show you a little trick. Now wait, let's make a pupil. Fill is highlighted, so now I'm going to make this a little like that. Now that's just a different kind of eye, right? Now this eye, notice, mistake. That's what happens when you stay on the ellipse tool and you're not using the selection tool. All right, so now sometimes you want to make somebody look angry. You have two eyes looking like this. Now, I was going to show you how to duplicate an eye, but first let's group these guys. Group. All right. Now, rather than drawing another one and maybe not getting it the same size, what you do is you go over here, this stamp tool, it says duplicate. All you do is point at what you want to duplicate. Now you notice around the outside, it gets that little bit of a blue. That means that's the object you're going to duplicate. So if I click on this, I've got another eye. And that's how you make two eyes the same size. Okay? Now, let's play a little bit with squares. I'm going to get rid of all of these guys. Delete. So let's start with a square. And let's say I want a triangle. It's okay if it's filled. How do I make a triangle out of a square? You go back up to the upper right reshape tool. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to grab that corner. Now you can make a simple triangle like this, or if you want to make one that looks more like a real triangle, you kind of find the center and you grab both upper corners and pull them in close to one another, and you kind of find that little bit of a sweet spot where they make a good pyramid. And that's how you make a triangle out of a square in Scratch. Now, the reason I showed you this is because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to make an explosion. Select tool, select the whole thing, delete. So to make an explosion, well, let's just make it rather than me trying to explain it. First, I start with a square. Yeah, black will do. So I'm going to zoom in on this guy, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab our reshape tool, and I'm going to pull the corners out like that. And now here's the fun part. Remember I told you earlier that you can add reshape points by clicking? I'm going to add a couple of reshape points about equal distance around the outside to help us make our explosion. And let's see how this works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this guy in like that. I'm going to pull this guy in like that. I'm going to pull these guys in, and I just keep repeating it. Now that's step one of our explosion. Now we have to add some more points. Let's see if we can add 3 on that side, 2 on these sides, 1, 2, 3. Now what we do with these guys is I'm going to pull this one out and this one in, and I'm going to pull this one out. Maybe we slide this one out like that. And this one goes in a little further. This one comes out like that. You don't want to make it perfectly symmetrical. And this guy comes in. Ooh, I added another one, sorry. But again, you don't want to make them perfectly symmetrical. You kind of want them to look like, well, an explosion. I think I'll add one right in here. Okay. Now, an explosion isn't always black. It starts with a bright color in the center and it gets redder and black and so on. So what we're going to do with this is we go back to our selection tool. All right. Now I'm going to select, and actually actually. I'm just going to duplicate. So now I have the exact same shape twice. Now what we're going to do with this one is we're going to fill it with, let's just say, a red color. Okay. So now I've got a red shape exactly the same. And I'm going to duplicate this again. Oops. And this time we're going to fill it with yellow. Now I'll show you what we do. We take this guy, and if you grab it at the corner, all right, let me explain this. If you grab them at the corner, you change the shape of the size of the whole thing. If you grab it just at the top, you can make it shorter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this guy down like this and line it up in here so it's kind of along the lines of, you do a little reshaping this way, or not reshaping, you do a little sizing, and you've got this here. Okay? Now, you do the same thing with the yellow. Reshape it a little bit, and now you have an explosion. What about the boom? You can add sound over this by going to the Sounds tab up here, but you can also add text. If you click over here on the text, you go in here anywhere you want, and you click and you get yourself a little cursor. Boom. Now it will turn into pretty much whatever color you have down there. If we go up to the selection tool, we want it to be a different color. Let's pick black because it shows up good against yellow. Grab it, put it in the center, and there you have an explosion. All right, everybody, that's all for now. We'll be posting more over the weekend, so leave us a like, subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Bye. Take care.